Thank you so much. It's really nice looking at all the faces without the masks. So it's been a long time since we've seen each other like this. So it's great to see you all. Uh, so we have, an esteemed panel here. Maybe we'll start with a quick round of introductions, and then, the idea is to spend some time discussing with the panel members, in terms of their thoughts around how do we look at the retail in the new normal, how do we look at adapting, the entire growth journey of retail brands itself, right? And we have a great set of panel members here. So it'll be nice to hear their thoughts. I can quickly go with a round of introduction about myself. I'm Praveen Govindu, a partner with Deloitte Consulting Practice. And we've just discussed that before we join the stage, we'll all share a fun fact about ourselves, just so that in case you had a heavy lunch or missed your lunch, either cases you'll wake up, right? So a quick fun fact about myself. I've been on the fastest roller coaster ride in the world. Any guesses? Correct. That's correct. The Abu Dhabi one, it's a Ferrari World. It's the fastest roller coaster, almost 300 kilometers per hour in about 4 seconds. So I'll now request the panel members. Maybe Suhail, we start with you.
I don't know about a fun fact, but I'm tall, dark, and handsome, if that's okay for you guys. Okay. I'm a men's clothing brand. We run a men's clothing brand called Basics. We're primarily out of the south. We've expanded quite a bit into the rest of the country as well. We have 120 retail stores and 1,000 other points of sale. I'm hoping that there are some people out here who used our men's clothing, our brand Basics. Thank you.
I myself, Amit Modak. I am a CEO, Director of PN Gadgil and Sons Limited. Our brand has got 190 years legacy and we are in jewelry business. Fun, yes, whenever I give card to any gentleman, he says, I will keep it hide from my wife. Because she should not be having knowledge that I know you, so she will pressurize me to come to your shop at a cost-effective pricing. Nice. And whenever our salesmen meet to any lady, they always say, yes, madam, this will suit you perfectly. And that works perfectly. Thank you.
Nice one.
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Anil Sharma from Ferns and Petals. I head the retail division of Ferns and Petals and running close to 450 shops. And we open close to 10 shops every month, delivering happiness and emotions all across. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Yuktie, the founder of Kosha. It's a travel and winterwear brand with a keen emphasis on being eco-conscious. We pride ourselves in keeping people warm on the coldest of trips. A fun fact about me is that I start my meal with dessert.
That's great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sachin, Kamat. I represent Enrich here. It's a 25-year-old beauty wellness retailer. We do services, we do retail products, and we're getting into e-com, turning omni-channel. We are in currently 6 cities, 80+ outlets, and also online. Fun fact about me, my son is an illusionist.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. And as Praveen said, it's going to be a tough task for all of us to keep you engaged, particularly post-lunch session. I'm Hemendu, and I am from LG Electronics. I head a business which does not include washing machines, refrigerators, microwave ovens, TVs, and dishwasher. So you're wondering that what the hell I do actually in LG Electronics. But yeah, we have a lot of other businesses too, which I handle in LG. And there's a fun fact about my organization, my company. And about myself, I compose ghazals. And when we miss out on a sales opportunity, I go and recite some ghazals and ensure that my sales guy picks up the order actually. So, yeah, that's.
Hi everyone, I'm Mohit Gopal. I'm the CEO of PayU Payments Private Limited. We are a large fintech company based out of India, and our parent company Naspers has also got a lot of investments in India, so we are really committed to growing the market. I don't know any fun facts about myself because I'm a very boring person. I love food, and whenever I come into Bombay, I would love to eat a vada pav, you know, the ones with the masala on it. And I also like guzzles, but I like guzzling beer more than the guzzle part of it. So that's.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Prasad Rajappan. I'm one of the culprits who started ZingHR. So ZingHR we are an HCM platform. We do more than 800 customers, about 1.6 million employee records. Recently, we got funded by Tata Capital, and we have got two, Anil and Ferns and Petals and Enrich are one of our victims. They use ZingHR. Fun fact about me is one of the things I hate is just to sleep. I feel it's a waste of time, and I wonder why people keep on sleeping for most of the time.
Hi, I'm Ranudeep. We run a brand called Rare Planet. So whenever you fly to any airport in this country, we are there in 35 odd airports, India's largest handicraft retailer in airports. We are there online as well. Fun fact, I'm the youngest on the panel. I'm 25.
Thank you everyone. That was really nice of all of you for sharing your fun fact with the audience. So nice, thank you so much. So maybe we'll get to the session, right? See, the idea of this panel today is to look at retail in its new light, right? Today, in India, retail market is almost close to $1 trillion market, right? And only probably about 20% is organized, and that too because probably in the last 2 years there was a lot of penetration of e-commerce, direct to customer, and most brands had this channel of sales really growing at a large pace, right? So given that context, right, there are quite a few things that have changed, right? Consumer buying behavior is changing. The way channels are emerging is changing. The supply ecosystems are changing. There's a lot of constraints on the supply side, major crisis still going on in the global arena. So given all of this, right, how it's very critical for most brands to plan their future growth, and how do they really, look at tapping into this big market that's there in front of us. So we'll start off with that theme, and maybe I'll start off with Amit ji, in terms of understanding. So Amit ji, given all these changes that you see, that are happening on the consumer side, on the channel side, on the supply side, how do you think as a brand you should look at growth? What kind of aspirations you should be looking at? And how do you then align your strategy to those kind of aspirations?
Ours is a jewelry sector, and jewelry sector has got benefit as far as organized jewelry sector is concerned. From the compliance made more and more compulsory to the all jewelry sector. Because in our sector, almost 30% is organized and 70% is unorganized, small format things. In one survey, it is said that more than ATMs, there are jewelers in India. So it is a more unorganized sector there. So the shift from unorganized to organized will make, as far as the organized sector where we are standing there, has got great opportunity in future to expand. In our own strategy, we keep on expanding. Our brand is 190 years old, and we have got one very good USP that we are not closed down any of the location or the store in last 190 years, because you may be reading in many national brands are saying that current quarter we have opened so many new stores and closed so many existing stores because they are not viable. We have got strategy like for growth, like a run and stop, run and stop, run and stop. That means some period we will run for the expansion, say for 2 years we may set up 10 stores, and then another 2 years we will stop. We will make those set stores of 10 new stores viable, profitable, having self-sufficiency, and then again start thinking about the new stores and new expansion. That run stop is there. And basically our product or our industry is not like that it will get obsolete. Okay? like electronic things. This thing will be getting sold in next 2-3 years, so I need to run in next 2-3 years, spread it as much as possible, because on one day if it will not work, I need to throw it away. That kind of industry is not there. So, and secondly, there is a reliability on in our industry. If you are having long standing at same place, people will have belief in you that yes, you will be there. If I want to remake it, or if I want to offer it for the repurchase, since we are selling the product which are not for the time being, but for the lifetime. So that kind of reliability is required. Loyal customers connect is required. And unless we stay there for continuously 5-6 years, that kind of thing cannot happen. And so we cannot think of closing any store. And for that purpose, we need to plan our strategy in that way, that we need to keep all our stores live.
No, that was great. So essentially saying, you're looking at sustainable growth and not growth for the sake of growth, right? So that's a great thing. Mr. Anil, what is your perspective, given that you have a product or a category which is completely opposite to jewelry, right? Jewelry is for lifetime, whereas, the flowers and all will probably, the shelf life is only,
commodity,
it's
yes.
a perishable commodity. So how do you see, you're also expanding big time. How do you see growth? How do you see these aspirations panning out? What kind of changes you need to bring about?
So in terms of our growth planning and expansion, we are investing heavily in technology, because technology in retail is going to take us forward. So that's, in the past couple of years, we all have understood. And we can see that a lot of businesses which were very, very disorganized are adopting the digitized way of functioning. Second is, which we have realized nowadays, the millennials are talking about where they are. So social commerce is catching up. Our focus is definitely there. Third comes quick commerce. How quickly you are able to deliver a product or a gift. So that's going to be a trend, keep you more sought after brand in terms of customers. Third is, it is no more about volume anymore. Time has come to strike a beautiful balance between volume and quality. If a customer is shopping at my website or my store today, whether that same customer is coming back to me, that is going to be the key factor. For this, you will have to keep reinventing your core category. Don't diversify so much. We have on the spree of reducing our product line, and focus is on every 3 months, give a new product line to our customer, and keeping millennials in mind, because they are the people who are driving the retail industry. I'll give you, this report came to me yesterday, and this said that in 2025, our population is going to be 67% middle income, 22% low income, and 11% HNI. So what we are trying to say here is, unorganized will become organized, unbranded will become branded, regional will become national, offline channel will become omni-channel, and yesterday's luxury is going to be today's necessity. So semi-urban will be the next market for each and every one of us. And when I talked about technology, so we are expanding in other geographies also. We are already there in UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Singapore, and we have plans to keep adding these geographies every 6 months. We will explore, and in this financial year, at least we will go to 4 new geographies.
That was great, Anilji. Thank you so much. In fact, you actually highlighted a point where you said every 3 months you want to launch a new product or a category, right? And in fact, my next question to Mr. Suhail would be around this whole concept, right? Typically in India, there are a lot of legacy brands, right? And a lot of brands, a lot of legacy with a lot of legacy. they've all been focused on probably creating the best product, right, over the ages. So, and somewhere I'm not too sure whether they have focused so much on the customer, which means the question is, today as brands, should we be more product centric, which means, we have a wide portfolio of products, or should we be more customer centric, which means maybe we focus on a few segments of customers, have a few products, but really be customer focused or customer obsessed. So what would be your viewpoints?
I think they're both the same thing. I think product centric and customer centric is the same thing, because if you're not making products for customers, then you're not a successful business. But I think what you're also referring to is that sometimes when you get too carried away, you want to expand your business. You want to, you want to sell a lot more products to your consumer than is your main knitting. I think that in COVID for us and during this, that has been a realization that, you need to sharpen your focus on the products in which you have a clear advantage and stick to it and bang home the advantage. I think that, you do not have the luxury of making products where you probably don't have the necessary expertise. Apparel, for instance, we've had 18, 20 categories of products we've made in the past, and we've now shrunk the whole, our product categories, and we've become sharper in the categories where we have an inherent advantage. That of course has a ripple effect. It means your inventory turns are faster, your margins get better, and you're able to make an impact on the competition as well. So from that perspective, yes, we've shortened our product line, we've made it sharper, and overall it's added a tremendous amount of benefit to us in the business.
Thank you. I think that's a great insight, right? Sharpen the focus on the product side and ensure that you deliver the promise that you've given to the customer with those products. And in fact, now on the same note, I want to also ask Hemendu in terms of, you mentioned so many categories, right? I couldn't keep account of all of those under the LG umbrella. So how do you deal with this conundrum in terms of, how do you manage so many categories of products while ensuring that the experience of the customer is not compromised?
Yeah, it's a very interesting subject, I guess, Praveen. And first of all, actually, the product which I mentioned, incidentally, I don't handle them, but still I can speak about them. Yeah. So, see, the best thing is that have products which are customer-centric. Can you do that, actually? I mean, that's a challenge I think everybody has. Can you actually incorporate the features which are required by the customers, by the consumers? And if you can do it quickly, I mean, you're the best player in the market. So that's the most important thing. But actually, I look at another aspect of this, to create a customer experience when they come to your physical space, right? And we're talking about pushing the boundaries, and there's a limitation of pushing a physical boundaries. You can only do through digital. So can you create experience when the customer walks in a store which is different than the product which they have already would have decided when they walk in your store? Because I'm sure that the customer are well informed today. They would have done a fair amount of research before you walk into your store, before they walk into your physical spaces. You need to create an experience which is unique, which is different, and can you create a connected buying actually for them? Can you create an intuitive buying for them? And for that, you need digital, right? You need technology, which, I mean, I also heard that you need technology adoption. You need technology adoption which is faster. And you also need a technology which is going to have enough headroom to grow, because again, the physical implementation, you should adopt a technology. We should go for a technology which has enough space to grow in the future. And a lot of businesses are lifetime business, unlike a few of the perishable products. So we at LG, the division which I handle, which many of you have not heard of, but we have set up a stall outside, can go and experience. We provide a platform which can create a very engaging and intriguing experience for anybody who walks in your retail store. And all these products what we have, they have a lot of cognitive algorithm built into that. I mean, you're surprised to know that typically you don't expect a device to have to have that artificial intelligence built inbuilt, and then cognitive analytics built to it. Because today everybody talks about databases. Bases are not assets. I think they are the liabilities for you. I mean, data is available everywhere. And in fact, I think all of us through our digital presence are known to everybody else more than what I know about myself. Everybody else knows about me. So it's not about the data. It's the analytics. It is relevant information which you have to pick out of that. And actually, we keep working on those areas. At LG, we ensure that our devices are built in with a lot of cognitive analytics, algorithms, and they can get you information which is going to be useful for your business today and tomorrow also. So I think that's what we are thinking, that physical boundaries have a limitation. You can't push them beyond a limit, but digital has a lot of space to do that.
Great. So the takeaway here is a lot of smart products.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
smart and intelligent. So actually, you got to be smart. Smart, typically, we talk about our looks, but intelligent is somewhere here. So it's important to have intelligent. You may not be smart. You got to be intelligent. You do your businesses, right? I may not be smart. I'm intelligent.
absolutely. No, thank you, Hemendu. That was a great insight. Now I'll now come to Yuktie. Obviously, you run. You're the founder of a brand, which is specifically into winterwear, right? And you actually faced a situation when probably people were not traveling, and you were at a point where probably even sustainability of business was a question, right?
True.
So my question is, obviously, post-pandemic, we could see pretty much digital as a channel, right? Online sales, e-commerce as a channel has really picked up, right? And you were probably operating as a physical store before COVID. And now the tables have completely turned. So how should brands, right, from your experience, how should brands be looking at now all these emerging channels? What kind of emphasis and focus they should be giving to offline, online? How do you see this again changing?
Sure. So just for context, we specialize in winter and travel wear. The business was started by my grandfather, and hence we are offline first, where more than 80% of the business came from the brick and mortar store. Typically, a client spends anywhere from 45 minutes to over 2 hours when they come in, and we help them with what are the layers they need depending on the place they are traveling to. Now, when the lockdown happened, not only stores shut down, but also travel came to a standstill. So we had these questions that how will we sell to our customers without being able to talk to them? How will we sell without showing them the products and helping them put on a jacket? Because it's so much, it's part of our blood to be able to sell only through our stores. And in the summer of 2020, it all seemed absolutely impossible. So we sought answers from our customers. Between my team and me, we spoke to nearly 1,000 customers. And what stood out from these conversations were clients who had purchased online. So a lady from Assam said she was so happy with how the thermals kept her children comfortable. Another lady from Karnataka told us she was raving about the waterproof pants and how it made her trip to Spiti so special. So these customer insights actually gave us the confidence to build online for the future and to take this legacy of keeping people warm further. So we spent the entire Q2 of that year in revamping our website and amping up our online presence. All the efforts that we did actually helped us acquire a completely new customer base of people outside of Bombay. So in the winter of 2020, clients from NCR, Punjab, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, who needed winter wear, irrespective of travel, actually discovered Kosha and formed part of our customer base. So online helped us hedge the risk of travel coming to a standstill. Now, when I talk about channel play, it's going to be increasingly important for retailers or brands to strike this balance between online and offline using data. We have to balance between online being you're discoverable online, because nowadays consumers are not just searching on Google, but they're actually searching on marketplaces. So that's where you're discoverable. Having said that, it's more business sense to sell through direct channels. So that exact balance, using data and understanding exactly where your customer is and hence being available to them when they need it, that's what's going to help brands build for the future.
Thank you, Yuktie. That was really nice. So what I could gather is, because of e-commerce, you pretty much acquired a new customer segment itself, right? And then you're leveraging data to be able to really balance out, between the channel mix. And on that note, maybe Mr. Sachin, I would like to come to you, because you also run a set of stores, right? And very heavy in terms of touch, connect and contact with the customer. And so how do you see, and obviously, pandemic would have impacted your day-to-day business operations as well. So how do you see again, this balance between online, offline, maybe from your own experience, how did you adapt to this new normal, and how do you see this again, panning out going forward?
So like in her case, it was travel and travel came to a stop. So how do you sell something that was meant for travel? In our case, at that time, 70% of our business is services and 30% is products. We are a contact business. And when stores come down, what do you do? But the way we looked at it was, if any of you have been to Enrich and seen our brand, it says love begins with you. We stand for making you feel good about yourself, and we do that by making you look good, because when you look good, you feel very good about yourself. So in that manner, we think of ourselves as a self-confident shop. So what we focused on was, during this time, if we can't do that physically for you, is there any which way we can continue to do that? And God knows that during the pandemic, there was huge need for you to feel good about yourself. So we started a whole slew of initiatives, and our team put our heads together. One of the things we did was, there were 3 or 4 items which were allowed as essentials, right? Face washes and a few other things. So our teams called up customers and asked them whether they needed refills. They took out e-passes and went and delivered them themselves. We got a lot of requests from customers telling us, could you quietly come in and do this thing for us, because I can't stand to see myself in the mirror and so on and so forth. And we kept telling them that you shouldn't do that, don't take a chance, sharp instruments and very skilled business and so on and so forth. But when lockdown 1 became 2, 2 became 3, and 3 became 4, we thought we should start something else. So we started an initiative called Call is Well. In Call is Well, what we did was, your individual beautician or stylist who has dealt with you before, they would call you up, speak with you and figure out how you were doing and whether you needed any help. And even though we couldn't physically be there, what we said was that you could have somebody from your family help you, and we will video assist you to get some basics done. So we did about 120,000 such calls in 2 months. And this is individual therapists and stylists and technicians calling their own customers. About 12 to 14% of these calls were video calls, right? And so this whole process of being in touch, figuring out how they are doing, helping them in any manner, we tended to continue in whatever manner possible our mandate of making you feel good about yourself. In fact, the third thing we did was, we ran a survey where we found out from people how they were managing. We told them, this is the safety norm we are building when we are going to be back. Do you think it's enough? Do you think we need to add anything more? What would you like to see once you're back? So in fact, our post-COVID protocol was co-created along with the customers. And that's how when we began, it all became smooth, because we had taken the effort to keep in touch. It also, before that we were building our own ERP, but that effort got accelerated, and so did our growth into e-commerce and now genuine omnichannel.
Great. No, I think that's a great way of keeping in touch with the customer, right? Even through the pandemic, and ensuring that they come back. And loyalty is a big component of your business. On the same note, I think Ranadeep, you also wanted to share some thoughts. We were just having that offline discussion. From your perspective, again, how do you see this mix between online, offline? And are there any takeaways, for a lot of brands who are probably, on the verge of starting or probably in the stages of growth?
So pre-pandemic, so our business mostly revolves around airports. And when the pandemic happened, travel stopped. Airports were closed for 1.5 months. But what pandemic did to us is, in those 1.5 months, we strengthened our community, like I said. So we built a community so strong across the country. We were only 5 airport shops in only five major airports. In the pandemic, we built 30 odd stores across different airports and had 35 airports. But while we built this whole online model so perfectly that the recognition of the customer increased very well. So आज अगर हम कभी भी जम्मू में खोलते हैं, customer को पहले से पता है कि ये brand है, and then he walks in and he's familiar with what we are selling. So this whole balance of online and offline was not there pre-pandemic, and this whole pandemic helped us get us more closer to the customer. And with more and more data today available to us, we know that this customer has flown through this airport and might revert back because his territory is there. Suppose he is from Bangalore and he'll fly back again and again. And so we make a more personalized experience for that customer. And whenever he's flying back from some other airport, we try to make sure that if he comes to our store, the same greeting is done, because as soon as a number is punched into the ERP, we get to know that he has already done so much of shopping with us. So I feel that whole balance which pandemic brought to us was very, very important. I would have never thought this whole thing getting changed this way if the pandemic wouldn't have happened. The whole view back in 2018-19 was so different, and today at 2022, it is so different how we look at the business. So for every travel retailer, the whole business model, how we interact with the customer has changed so much.
No, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest challenges also today, right? And in fact, my next question, again, maybe Sachin, I can direct this to you. Emergence of online channels probably also, led to brands asking the question, okay, how do I market my, my brand, my product, my experience to the customer? Now there are a lot of performance-oriented marketing options. Pre-pandemic, probably there's a lot of, brand-oriented marketing options. So how do you see the role of marketing itself change, as an enabler for growth?
I think, once again, if I take the example of our own, of my own brand, right? We are into services, we are into retail products, and we are into then being able to serve you wherever, at home, at our destination, or even online. I think the most, whether it is brand-led communication or programmatic marketing, whichever way you call it, I think people need to have a clear reason for why they should come to you to get that. To just make it a little clear, there is this distinguishing thing people do about whether you are B2B or B2C. And I believe eventually it's all H to H. It's human to human, correct? Similarly, you could do brand-led marketing, you could do the programmatic kind, but they are eventually mediums. Unless you give people a strong reason and keep building on it. Here the example I would give you is, if you're paying an EMI, you're spending money, but you're creating an asset. On the other hand, if you're paying rent, you are spending the same money, but none of that will stick to you. So regardless of whether you do either kind, what you need to do is, you need to make sure that each and every dollar or rupee that you spend on your marketing is also going to make sure that your brand becomes stronger and stronger. Right? Rather than spend it in a manner where you're spending it today, you might get a sale today, but you really are not investing anything for the future.
Right. So most of the marketing has to go after acquiring loyal customers. It's not like buying a market share, but you're trying to buy.
You can't acquire loyal customers. You have to acquire customers
and
then loyal. Serve them. Well, we were discussing, he was talking about the service mentality, right? Not about getting you for today or tomorrow, but if I'm going to be there to serve you regularly, regardless of whether now you're a service business or a product business, then I think you build loyalty, and that is how your brand gets built and your business also gets built.
Absolutely. And Yuktie, I think you also have some experience here, right? From a marketing standpoint, you are again an offline business model. So what kind of initiatives you think have worked for when you actually moved, from offline to a format of omni-channel?
So when it comes to travel, a lot of our travel is influenced either by a friend's post on social media or what we read. So community is pretty much at the center of our marketing. Once you see your friend has traveled to Iceland, you want to go to Iceland. You're going to go ask your friend tips about where to go, what to wear, how do you stay warm. You get recommendations from there. After that, you travel, then you post on social. Again, you're creating this element of others, this sort of a positive circle or loop of referrals, which come through community. That's one aspect. The second thing is personalized service, as they are saying. That's been integral, whether we service them online or even at our store. And that sort of kept us, ensuring that apart from the marketing that we do, our customers market for us. Because more than 30% of our customers come through referrals. So community building and is very, very strong in our marketing piece.
No, thank you, Yuktie. I think referral marketing, influencer marketing, these have become like very critical channels for most brands beyond the traditional channels of marketing, right? So now we'll just shift track a bit. Now, while we've spoken a lot about growth and what are the various enablers of growth, one of the biggest challenges the sector also has been facing, and in fact not just retail or brands itself, right? Many companies that are facing today is around people, the attrition that we're seeing, the work from home, the hybrid environment. How do you manage life at work vis-a-vis life at home? So maybe, Mr. Prasad, it will be nice to hear your thoughts. Obviously, you operate in this domain, but how do you think, again, brands should prepare themselves? Do you think, there are some quick wins? A lot of people here will be, including me, will be very keen to hear from you if there are some hacks in terms of managing these challenges on the people side.
Thank you. I think all the panelists have been talking of customers, customer centricity, whether it's B2B or B2C. I think one of the things we realize that when it comes to human capital, while there's always saying human capital is the biggest capital, but we tend to treat them as in a cluster. They are workmen, they are blue collar, they are white collared, they are sales team, they are retail. I think what needs today, we feel that whatever investment is happening in classifying customers and where we are doing hyper personalization, like I think Suhail was saying, we need to ensure that they really come back. The question I'm asking all of us, are we doing the same attention to our human capital? Are we able to do personalized human practices for people? Can I treat each of my 1,000 or 10,000 or 200 or 50 people as individuals and give them personalized service? What happens is we are so focused on the customers that I can remember that customer came to my website once and I know the preferences of that customer. Next time I will serve him with these choices. The question is, I'm asking, can we do that or should we not do it for our employees? Can we not treat them as each individual resource and say, what are their likings? What are their personal aspirations? How do I align the company's aspirations and their aspirations? I think we use a methodology called lean. We use a methodology called purpose versus means. I'll give you an example. As a human being, tell me who like to be, all of us like to be praised. All of us like praise. Yeah? But what do we do in companies? We appraise them. Okay? We try and tag them good, bad, ABC, Belka, or whatever you want to do. The question is, human being today, because of the choices we have got options. So-called great resignations are there because they're not able to align their aspirations with organizations. The second phenomenon which I'm seeing is, apart from hyper-personalization, is can I get instantaneous? Today I get, whether it's Ola or online booking, Ferns and Petals are booked in the night and I can give a gift to my friends. It's all instantaneous. Why do you think the employees don't need that? They want instant gratification in terms of rewards. They want to know instantly on a daily basis how much I'm going to earn. They want to know a pat on the back instantaneously. They want to know everything instantaneous because life outside HR or the people practices have become instantaneous. So there are two messages I'm trying to say is, can we build a hyper-personalized experience for our employees or our team members? And can we get them real-time, everything on real-time perspective? And I think today's world will have to accept that, especially with the gig economies and all, there are a lot of jargons of Gen Z and all. But I think the whole era of hire to rehire has come. I don't think hire to retire anywhere matters. You may have people and they will come back to you if you really got the well experience, almost equal, if not better than the customer experience. So all of us have to look at, can we use technology? Can we use personalization, all these lot of technology tools in the B2C for customers, can we deploy it for human being? I think that is a huge learning we are doing, and I think there's a huge research happening on those sides.
No, absolutely. In fact, I read somewhere that now some companies are planning to pay out the salaries on a daily or a weekly basis instead of a monthly.
Can I just take one moment? I think we do that. For us, when we talk of purpose versus means, we realize that payroll processing was never a purpose. It's a means to pay it real time. So we launched something called virtual payroll, which calculates payroll on a daily basis. That means technically you can tell the employee, we have got 800 rupees today. Not only that, because you're now able to calculate retail companies, we work with a large retail with 50,000 people, 1,400 stores. They're able to calculate the cost of manpower on a daily basis, hence gross margins on a daily basis. This means these stores has made this much profit. So I think that's again the example of instantaneous. People also want to know how much am I getting? How much incentives am I getting? It's very, very there. And that is a reality, not a...
No, absolutely. I think hyper-personalization and trying to make it a lot more instantaneous, in terms of rewards or benefits is also an important, element.
Yeah, I just want to add one fact, a very important point he touched. We all talk about customer experience and everything is customer-centric, but maybe are we ignoring our own employees? I mean, the most important asset is human capital. The most important maybe we tend to ignore most of the time. I remember one of the organizations, they had a board when you enter at the reception, customer is the king, and the replaced with employee is the king. So I think that was something is very touching to the people. I mean, I'm sure that it would touch their chord here and would have return in terms of better efficiency and productivity. That's a very important thing here.
And in fact, Amit ji, from your perspective, right, you've been obviously running a brand which is probably more than 100 years old, in the jewelry space. So from your perspective, how do you see, again, talent is important, and, in your business specifically, ability, it's not just, understanding the customer, they have to understand the product. There's a lot of technical concept to it. There's a lot of comfort they associate with working with you as a brand. There are certain practices and ethos. So how do you, what do you think going forward as you look at growth? How do you see, you managing this, the element of people and talent?
In our type of organization, generally people come with the brand name at a first level. Secondly, whenever they enter the shops or the showrooms, they ask for specific person because that specific person has got interaction with that specific customer many times and both have got comfort with each other. So many times even the shop manager is saying that please buy this thing, I am showing you this new thing arriving. He or she will ask for that specific person by the name, is he available? And if that person gets same answer from that employee, yes ma'am or yes sir, it is a new thing which you should try, it's good, it's a price value for money, it's a lightweight, suiting to your needs, suiting to your all these things, then they will believe. So we have got very much importance of our employees, and that too, just like a loyal customer, loyal employees are also important for us, who are ready to stay with us years together because they are our brand ambassador actually in the society. Whenever they go into society, they also say, we are proud that we are known, yes, you are in PNG, you are working with PNG. So they also get status along with our brand, and we also recognize their status because whenever customer comes in, our manager generally tell him, yes, welcome and all these things, and with whom you want to interact, because everyone has got some specific interaction with each other. In pandemic, our management is very friendly to the employees, caretaking of the employees. In pandemic, one example I can give, that when there was a lockdown was likely to come in within 2 days time, and Pune was the city where lockdown come almost 1 week ahead, and it was known to us that from tomorrow it will be lockdown. We loaded our all employees account with 15,000 rupees randomly, because on the payday, that is the 1st April, whether we will be able to come to office and process it and send it to them was not known to us. But they have got their debit card, so they can keep on purchasing their necessities and all these things. And it was a surprise thing for our all employees, that their account got credited 5 days before the month end. Owners are not waiting for the payday and all these things, not looking to the attendance or anything, and loading right from CEO to bottom level employee. Everyone has got 15,000 rupees loaded for his daily necessities, which is required to be fulfilled in their pandemic lockdown situation. So that kind of relations we are maintaining to create a loyal employees with the organization.
Great. I think the key takeaway here is employees can be also brand ambassadors, right? And I think that's an important thing. And if we invest in our employees, they'll surely be loyal and obviously expand support the brand and the growth. So now one thing, right? And while we spoke about people, I think one of the other elements in retail specifically is the ease of transactions itself, right? All said and done, the consumer is actually buying a product or a service from a brand. So ease of transaction is important, and one of the biggest elements of the transaction is payments. And we see obviously a lot of innovation and new models emerging in payments. And Mohit, if we could come to you, right? Obviously, you're from PayU. So, is this whole digital channels of payment, at least okay, we are all living probably in the metros. I'm always curious to know whether there's a phenomenon of the metro city or probably tier 1 city, or do you actually see there is a huge potential for some of these digital channels to make headway into probably the so-called Bharat, right? I mean, what is your take on this?
I'm actually still thinking of fun facts about myself. But actually, let me tell you a fun fact about all of you here. Chances are very, very high that over the last 3 months, you have used PayU in some shape or form. Right? Most of you would live in urban cities. You've transacted online. You won't realize it's us because we are a classic B2B company. And in the B2B business, we really don't want you to know about our brand. We will succeed millions of times in a day. But the few times that we will fail, that's the time you will know our brand, and we really don't want that. When I joined PayU about 5 years back, if I would look at scatter diagrams of where transactions would originate from, they would originate from India's largest metros. You could see that, right? Today, that's not the case. At 11 a.m. every day, when IRCTC is doing its Tatkal bookings, we see color across the country. When a cricket match is on, you'll see all the fantasy gaming sites out there suddenly spike up. J&K, Arunachal, Tamil Nadu, it's coming from everywhere. But if I was to actually take a step back, and I know after every panel, people get to ask questions. I've always had this fantasy of actually asking all of you a question. Would you like to guess what was India's literacy rate back in, say, 1959, 1960, approximately? Very, very close. I think the 61 census was 28%, so it would have been about 27%. Does anybody want to guess what is India's financial literacy percentage today? Trick question. Very, very tough. I'm not going there.
One sentence. If anybody can give it, you can.
No, I think it's a tough question. It's much like literacy. The way literacy is defined and financial literacy, they're both data, and if you torture data long enough, it'll confess to any sin. So I'm not going there, but I'll just tell you one thing. Today, we estimate our financial literacy to be, again, 27%. So we are, in terms of the question which you asked, we are back in 1960. But I assure you, if you take India's actual literacy rate today, it would be close to about 80%. The last census happened in 2011, which was 74%. There was no census in 2021, right? That's one of the few even years where we didn't have one. We'll have one this year. So I'm estimating it's going to be about 80%. The rate of growth of our financial literacy from 27% to 80% will happen over the next decade or so. It's going to be that fast. Because when we talk about brick and mortar, Anilji spoke about how you build, then you scale, you wait. Because the cost of getting things wrong in the physical world is much, much higher. You can't change a shop floor. You can't get out of a lease that easily. But digital entropy is much, much faster. Most of you, many of you would not even perhaps remember what Orkut or Alta Vista or Hotmail, and by Hotmail I don't mean actors, models, or all your fellow panelists, with the exception of Yuktie. But what I'm saying is these things will change so quickly that it will just, you won't even realize what's happened. If I was to just look at payments, so I think India is actually ahead of every other country when it comes to payment infrastructure. We have real-time 24/7 payments. UPI has been one of the greatest successes in payments globally, and it's now being taken to the world. Think about Aadhaar. This is, you have a platform for biometric authentication right now, right? And you have this great stall out there with ONDC, and they're actually building this entire open network for digital commerce. So what China does not translate well in payments, at least across the world. What India does is being taken by NPCI right now to the world, right? So I think we've got the infrastructure in place. We've got great regulatory oversight. Right now, the RBI is actually strengthening security, fraud, anti-fraud. All of this is happening. So what I'm telling you is that for us in PayU, at least, we are so excited because we know, like all of you work with us in some shape or form, everybody in India will be working with us over the next decade or so. So that growth is definitely out there, right? And if you want to see the world changing, you don't have to look at technology or the media or the news. Just look at your children. They are so much more tech evolved than all of us here, and that's the future, right? So I'm very, very confident that over the next decade or so, we will see such a great leap forward in financial literacy, in the infrastructure to support it, and in user behavior. And consumers, post-COVID, right, behavior is so different from what it was before this. So I think there are silver linings in everything, and really looking forward to what the next decade will bring.
Great. 50 years growth in 10 years when it comes to financial literacy. No, that was great. So I have one final question to the panel, and anybody could take it. We have spoken actually today, right, in terms of pushing the boundaries. What could be the various ways to look at growth? How do we tackle various challenges? But one of the biggest things that we normally miss out on, and most of the people here are either CEOs, CXOs, or founders of companies, right? So just wanted to understand, how do you deal with the execution of all of these strategies, right? I mean, how big is execution a challenge? I mean, how big a problem it is? I mean, anybody could, feel free to share their thoughts on this. It's open to the panel.
So I think you need to have more real targets, right? There's a bunch of changes you want to do. You need to prioritize that, obviously, based on your capacity for change, based on your organization's capacity for change, and based on the risk that your change management can bring in. So while you have a to-do list, right, you obviously, it's sequential, the most urgent burning desire, you cross off once. There's always a to-do. My to-do list is a mile long, and you want to transform your organization, you want to transform yourself, you want to get a six-pack, so I guess it's all in sequence. And as an organization, we also have to understand that while we need to think of the future, but we need to run today, right? So disruption to daily operations, disruption to the way of doing business is the one thing you need to protect at all costs. So I think we just need to, they say, there's an old adage, you don't bite off more than you can chew. So change management is constant for your organization. As I think organizations, we're all constantly changing, right? We're constantly moving. We constantly want to be someplace else, right? But that does not mean, that you burn what you have behind you. It's not going to work. And as you grow larger, you have to be that much more confident that even though somebody is looking shinier than you and better than you, you'll get there, but you can't disrupt, you can't break things in the process.
In fact, that's a...
To just take a slightly different perspective, the larger you grow, implementing everything from 30,000 feet down to the floor becomes that much more critical. And every organization, like he said, is constantly evolving. So think of an organization not like a lake, but like a river, right? So all the basics, whether it's your culture, whether it's your standard operating procedure, whether it is how you cascade things down to the last thing, this is something that you need to do over and over again in regular intervals, just so that everybody's got all their effort happening in the same direction. And in our company, we've noticed that whenever we have not given that its due, no great idea makes any sense. So this thing about how do you cascade, how do you implement, how do you make sure everything reaches right down to the floor is so much important. At times it can look and feel very boring and very repetitive, but like they say, God is in the detail, right? You have to make sure that happens regularly.
Yeah, just wanted to just add a point there. I think we're talking of execution. I think our principle is if everyone in the organization is having clear about the purpose and they're able to align their purpose with the organization, I think it's simpler. You know, for example, if each last mile, and it's not easy. I think people are talking about those alignment and all those things. There are different tools, but if the intention is to make that if the last mile person's aspirations are aligned with yours, execution becomes simple.
Yeah, I think I can take it forward from what he said or what you said. Actually, we said execution is very important or the most important thing. I think execution is everything. I mean, we all are good at making strategy, writing vision statements and creating mission statement. And how do we really communicate to the last guy sitting on the entire rung, entire chain? So communication is the most important thing, that it's simple, should be understandable, and the last guy should be able to decipher exactly what you want to convey. And keep the execution as simple as possible. Don't create very thick procedure books. Have small handbooks, rule books, and distribute to the people with very clear role and responsibility defined. That's a key. So keep it as simple as possible. You can have very complex mission statement and vision statement and a great strategy book, but we need to uniformly communicate to the last guy and ensure that it's implemented. And that's a key for our success actually in our business. The business I talked about, many of you don't know, but we are the leaders and we have more than 40% market share here, and we are very new in this space. We're just about 8 years old organization. Many of you won't even know that what we do, but still we are number one in this space. And it's primarily because that we kept execution as simple as possible, the rule books as handy and as small as possible. That's the key, I guess.
Can I have 30 seconds? Yeah. So just two examples. Just two examples very quickly of the pandemic. We did 90-second videos each and every day. Between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening, we would cascade to all our 2,000 people. We did this regularly, day in and day out, for 150 days, so that everyone to the last person knows on a daily basis what we are doing and why we should do it. That is one. Second example is, every fortnight we have a hiring cycle, and every fortnight, all the new people who join in, they go through induction, but one of us directors takes the value session in that induction week after week after week. We've been doing that for years together. So just two examples of what implementation things you have to do on a regular basis.
In fact, I was also a little selfish in asking that question, right? A lot of clients that we work with, they come to us to help, in change management. There's a big transformation they want to undertake, and they want Deloitte to come and support the change management, right? But the good part is I got some ideas here, right? Change management is not a one-time activity, right? It needs to happen every time. So next time when I go to clients and pitch, I'll say, you need a function of change management, so we'll work with you on an annuity model year after year, right? So I think we have about a minute, but I'm not sure if we can take a couple more minutes. I thought there's an interesting rapid-fire questions. I thought I'll have the panelists answer. Maybe we'll just take 2 more minutes, but close it with this. So what I'll do is I'm just going to randomly pick the panelists here. I'm just going to give you a word. Just share what comes to your mind, right? Just a word. Hopefully it'll all be related to retail and growth and brands, but just a word. So the first word is marketplace, D2C, social commerce. Suhail?
Social commerce. every single time. I'm against the marketplace business, right? I want to build my own online space, and DTC is inflated as a term.
Great. So social commerce. So you can see where the future is heading. Next one. 1,000 crores revenue with 200 crore loss versus 100 crore revenue with 20 crore profit. I wouldn't ask this to Amit ji. I know the answer. So maybe Yuktie?
I'll go with 100 crore revenue and 20 crore profit. I think the lockdown taught us
If any investors are here.
profit first.
Thank you. The next one, 1,000 unicorns from India. Mohit? Yes, I agree. It is going to happen. It's going to happen. 1,000 unicorns. That's $1 trillion valuation. Convenience versus experience. Amit ji?
Experience. Because
yes.
we sell lifetime and not time being.
Absolutely. Mobile number. Anil ji, what comes to your mind? Mobile number.
I can't really think of.
Okay, I'll give you some context, right? The idea was you go to a retail outlet and the sales guy asks, okay, share your mobile number with us.
Best way is like what just now sir said, it is experience. If you are giving, because you are now, it's time of, you need not to discover any brand. You're already discoverable. Google business listing is there. What kind of rating you are getting from your customer? What is your NPS score? So what customer is actually experiencing at your outlet, or what kind of experience your product line is giving to your customer is going to be. So no more phone numbers are not required at all.
Great. That's nice. Interesting viewpoint. 10-minute delivery. Hemendu?
Yeah, I handle enterprise business anyway. So actually, we are talking about 10 months delivery. As of now, all of us know that what we are going through. Supply chain is completely disrupted. Sometimes we don't get chip, sometimes we don't get ship. So it's, we are actually, sailing between chip and ship. So 10 minutes is a dream for us. Yeah, it's a dream.
Ridiculous.
On the other hand, 10-minute delivery is what your downstairs local shop has been giving you for the last 30 years. No rocket science.
Okay, last couple of ones. Metaverse, Ranadeep?
The next wave of growth.
Okay, so Metaverse, please note that. This one again, I have to ask Mohit only. Cash is king. Don't agree. Okay, and the last one, millennial. Did I miss? I think Prasad ji.
I think millennial is a myth. All of us are millennials because we have started behaving like that.
Millennial is a myth. I think there's one more, maybe Sachin to you. AR, VR, UR, QR, XR.
It's UR. It's all UR.
It's all UR.
Yeah.
So I think that was it from this panel. I think great. Thanks a lot. It has been a pleasure, moderating this panel, and thanks for all your inputs. I hope the audience, found it interesting and helpful. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Praveen. I think that was a fabulous job you did. Thank you.
Thank you.